we typically see people wanting to do things quicker, safer and smarter.
That sounds very interesting.
Rather throw yourself in the deep end and you'll learn how to swim.
I've got this question that I've always wanted to ask you.
Yeah, that's a good question. Our tools are usually smart tools that you can capture the data from that tools, pull a report from it to actually prove, look, the job has been done correctly.
Hello everyone, I'm very excited because today we're pioneering the very first episode from our Stories of Transformation podcast. This podcast is aimed at understanding and experiencing the different people that we have within our group, how they're able to navigate all the challenges that they faced, what impact they have in our communities, and also just to get to know them better. My name is Noluthando Zondo, the corporate communications responsible for the Atlas Copco group in the sub-Saharan region. Today I have with me Matthew Raymond. Welcome to the podcast, Matthew.
Thank you.
So Matthew, thank you for allowing us this opportunity to learn more about you. So I know quite a lot about you, but obviously our viewers don't know who you are. Do you want to share a bit of your story?
Sure. So my name is Matthew Raymond and I'm 28 years old. I'm the first born child in my family. And after matric, I then went and studied a Bachelor's of Marketing and Management, and then I did my honours in Strategic Brand Communications after that. I've always had a passion for business, and then after university, I looked to pursue that. And that's when I came across the position at Atlas Copco for a global marketing internship program. And at the time, I didn't really understand, exactly everything it entailed, but I applied for the position and I got the job. And I started working here, and soon after it became apparent what my initial role was going to be. And that was basically to do a global project, as the name sounds. But it was a lot more fascinating and blessing than that, because we actually got to fly to our head office in Sweden to present our results and our findings to the global presidents of the group itself.
So I see you coming and going in the office, and a lot of people might be wondering, where is he going? Can you take us through a normal day? What does your day look like?
Yeah, so after my global marketing internship, I then became permanent and went into sales. So, and I'm in field sales specifically. So a lot of the time I will call customers or prospecting customers and see if I can go and see them, look at the setup that they have in their organization and in their workshops and their factories, see what problems they have, challenges they have, value that we can add, solutions we can bring. And so I'll do a lot of that in the field with customers, and then I will do the admin that follows that process. So I'd say sometimes I'm in the office and sometimes I'm at a customer. It just depends on the flow of the day, to be honest.
That sounds very interesting. So having a marketing qualification myself, I've always wanted to go into sales and experience what that's like. However, I was a bit reluctant because from what we learned at school, sales can be very challenging. So do you want to maybe take us through one challenge you've experienced in your career, specifically with clients and in the sales environment, and how you managed to tackle that?
Yeah, I think I had a lot of challenges specifically purely because this is my first ever proper job, should I say, other than casual work. And it being the first time doing anything, you obviously have a lot to learn, a lot to grow into and a lot to understand. So I'd say at the beginning, because a lot of the business that I was approaching was brand new business, it wasn't with existing clients, you have the challenge of maybe introducing yourself to prospecting customers that don't necessarily know who you are or what value you can bring. So I'd say maybe not so much a challenge, but more a skill I had to learn was communicating what value we can bring in a way that clients understand that and can start to take value out of it.
I think that's the most impactful thing for a customer, is they want to see what value the brand can give to their business. So the Atlas Copco Group is known for having technology that transforms the future. What transformations have you seen in your industry specifically?
So in my industry, I'm working with the mining market segment specifically, and mining is all about time is money. And it's also all about safety and quality, making sure the job is done right. So I see a huge increase in those needs in the mining market segment. So going back to your question, what transformation do we see? We typically see people wanting to do things quicker, safer, and smarter. So our equipment brings a lot of productivity value add, and it also brings a lot of safety value add, but it also brings digitalization value add. And what I mean by that is more industry 4.0 transformation. So our tools are usually smart tools that you can capture the data from that tools, pull a report from it to actually prove, look, the job has been done correctly. And that we see as very valuable to the mine because it's a quality assurance tool. If the job's been done correctly, then we know the equipment will work correctly and no one will get injured on site, and etc. So that is a lot of transformation that I'm seeing in my space specifically.
Yeah, 100%. So what I've assessed about your story, it has been different stages of growing through the ranks. And for someone who's starting out in this field, what is the one piece of advice you would give to them?
In my space specifically? Yes. The best piece of advice I would give is that would actually be just to throw yourself out there. I think it can look very scary sometimes when you're coming into a big corporate organization. You're also dealing with quite large, significant customers on the other end of it. And sometimes it can be scary to think, how am I going to do this? How am I going to get there? How am I going to achieve X, Y, and Z when the stakes are so high? But what I've learned is that rather throw yourself in the deep end and you'll learn how to swim. And that's been a little bit of my journey and a little bit of the Atlas Copco way. And it, like I said, it can be scary, but I've also watched other people around me as time's gone on that just got better and better at swimming. So my advice to sum it up would be throw yourself out there and don't just do it for a month or two, but keep pushing because eventually those results will release and the breakthrough will release and it'll take off. So keep pushing until it takes off and it will be well worth the while.
I really love that. Yeah. Before we close off, I've got this question that I've always wanted to ask you. And I've asked you quite a lot of questions. But let's put ourselves in a scenario where 5 years from now, we look back at this podcast. What's the one thing that you would say now that you would want future Matthew to not forget?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I'm throwing you in the water.
Yeah. I would actually say persistency. I think it's persistency. I think where I am now, if you look at a wall and you have a hammer and a chipping hammer and you keep knocking away at it, eventually the wall will break. But you have to be persistent. And it's something I've learned now, and I think that's something I don't want my future self to forget. I think you'll always face the challenges in life and in business and everywhere else as you go forward. But the more persistent you are, the more chance you have of getting the breakthrough and the victory that you need.
100%. And with that, guys, I think Matthew's story is one of the most amazing stories that we have within the sub-Saharan region. It speaks to our belief as the Atlas Copco Group that there's always a better way. And Matthew, thank you for this. Thank you for showing us. Thank you for sharing your story with us. Until next time.